coming from the Truspace. We ain't entertaining neighbors, I don't give a fuck what you say. Found the universal coochie planet, seeds and birds, fruit, now I'm really looking juicy. Welcome to the Truspace. Yeah, bitch, welcome to the Truspace. Welcome to the Truspace. Yeah, bitch, welcome to the Truspace. Yeah, we coming from the Truspace. We ain't entertaining neighbors, I don't give a fuck what you say. Found the universal coochie planet, seeds and birds, fruit, now I'm really looking juicy. Welcome to the Truspace. Yeah, bitch, welcome to the Truspace. Welcome to the Truspace. Yeah, bitch, welcome to the Truspace. What's good, everybody? My name is Open Book, and here's my partner.
Hey guys, welcome back to Truspace.
And this is your weekly horoscope. So let's take a look at the energies going on this week. On Monday 26th, we're having that new moon energy. With the new moon coming, where I think is in full effect on Sunday, but we're still having those effects of it on Monday. Um, and on that new moon, the sun and the moon is making a trine with Saturn in Aquarius, and Mars in Gemini for this new moon. So kind of like this air trine going on. How do you think this is going to affect the new moon energy?
So this new moon is putting us in this new emotional space to initiate and be emotionally in a place to initiate and be aggressive, give birth to relationships, ways of connecting with people, and think. Because this is what we're gonna love and appreciate, and we're gonna indulge in. This is what Libras love, appreciate the concept of relating. Maybe they're not even they may even uphold a relationship even though it might be completely not realistic, which might affect their physical situation just for the sake of relating. So that's what the new moon is gonna be about, putting in this new emotional space to relate with other people, really putting you after we finished Virgo season, and then we had the we harvested all we needed, what we need to optimize, and things of that nature. Now this is the time to socialize, the beginning of social life, and then the trines to Saturn in Aquarius is adding a structure to this new emotional way of relating to people. So you don't go relate with a random people, because sometimes Libra energy gets you to initiate random relationships and communications with people that leads nowhere and things of that nature. That's where Venus comes in, the indulgence nature of it. Saturn is going to make sure you be restricted, you be controlling with your association and things of that nature. And then there's Gemini too. Gemini is here to add give us the energy to just to go communicate, be scatter minded. You're not necessarily here to be direct. That's where Saturn Aquarius is for. Mars and Gemini is just for you to put the energy into breathing, because Gemini is your respiratory system. So Mars is just you putting the energy into communicating, being scattered minded, letting people know what's happening, things of that nature. So this new moon with this air trine is getting you almost like it's giving you wings to fly off when it comes to your relationship, giving you to really be more air-headed and know how to approach things from a mental perspective, and you're getting all this air energy too, so it's quite good too.
Absolutely, right at the beginning of Libra season two, where just like what you were saying, how things were about optimization before, and it was more of an earthy, grounded type feel where we were experiencing it with our bodies in reality. You're actually putting in the work and collecting in your harvest, while you're organizing and making sense out of your life in a real physical, intimate way. Now, Libra, is this new moon is the time where you really have the chance to decide what you want to do with all of that energy. And you're so right. Saturn's there to make sure you take it serious. Mars is there to really broaden the horizons, really make you passionate about speaking, so that you can really deliver the conversation. So the whole mental wheel is spinning. The hamster's on the wheel with this new moon alignment, and you really want to, because Libra can go ahead. I'm sure we all know a Libra like that, where it's after Virgo season, when all things make sense, things are collected, and then Libra goes all which way, or goes and does other things, or too mental and not grounding it back to the experiences that it had and with Virgo season in terms of all of the assets that it had built and understanding how practicality transitions out in the world. So now with Libra, you're really, especially on this new moon, you really want to set your mind on what the potentials, the new ideas, the new relationships, the new ways you can go and bring this practicality that you have established into the world. You don't want to go and waste that energy or have potential that and make relationships or agreements and stuff like that don't recognize or acknowledge that potential. So that new moon is for you to set the intentions, for you to really look at, okay, refresh into Libra, to really assess what had happened in Virgo season and what really starts to make sense, because this is what you want to be the foundation of the relationships that you are setting now. So on this new moon and that new moon energy, really fix it on the new relationships that you want to that you want to have, the new image of balance that you have, that you want to establish in your relationships. And you kind of have to take that seriously, because a lot of times we let things slide. Saturn in Aquarius is gonna really let you know the seriousness of it, because whatever relationship you choose, there's gonna be responsibility back behind it, and you're gonna be obligated, feel obligated to give your mental energy. And if it's mental energy that's draining because you don't agree with it and it's stuff like, you're just gonna be all flunked out in the mental range where you're forced to think about a whole bunch of things that you don't want to talk about. You're forced to have a whole bunch of conversations. And the Mars and Gemini may kick in and bring in that frustration in the conversation, and then you're not actually having intellectual conversations or curiosity. It's more of mental attacks with this trine. So it can really burn you out mentally because of a partnership that you are doing. So you really want to focus on planted the right seeds. And this being the energy of the new moon carrying into the full moon, um, a lot of things may happen very easily, or those thoughts or those mentalities that you're trying to establish based off of what's happening in Virgo season may be very easy to establish. But if it's negative stuff, people don't realize with trines, especially grand trines like this one, that if a person has a grand trine in their chart, a lot of it can either be a natural talent for sure, but it can also be a defense mechanism, because it's something that they never really had to be confronted by. It's something that always had come to them. So on this day, something may come very easy. Certain ideas, certain conversations, certain relationships may come very easy. But is it grounded back to what happened in Virgo? Just because it's easy, don't make that. Hold out for something else. If it's right, it's going to also have that quality of being easier, not seeming like it's have that much resistance. But it's not about not having resistance in the relationship. It's about the right relationship first and foremost. But yeah, with that
That
energy.
exactly the right relationship.
Mm-hmm. New moon is also opposing Chiron and Jupiter in Aries. How do you think that opposition is gonna hit?
So as you're emotionally getting all these new thoughts and ideas of communicating and relating from all these different perspectives, relating to Saturn with your associate, and then Mars making you take action and be passionate about communicating, and then Libra getting you to initiate those relationships, especially think about those right relationships, like what CJ is saying. But this opposition with Carrion and Jupiter in Aries, this is the fight against the individual and what you've been building on so far, because this is not the time right now to destroy what you've been building or what you've started with Aries, your brain and nervous system. And right now you went through your Aries, Taurus, and then you went through Gemini, and then Cancer, then Leo, and then Virgo. There's no point of trying to initiate a relationship that's not gonna match what you initiated on in your head, your brain and nervous system, Aries. And then Jupiter wants you to expand in this area. So it's important that your relationship do not destroy your sense of self and your sense of expanding and extracting knowledge and wisdom in yourself. And Karen is there to end that sensitivity. I think Karen would like Libra, because Libra is political. It says the right things. So that might help Karen a little bit, even though it's a heavy an opposition. So you gotta learn how to deal with your own, uh, the person with the social life, essentially.
Yeah, yeah. Really, you have to blend your individuality with your social or your needs from your social life. I bet you maybe even having certain relationship needs may take away from that solo journey that you're supposed to go on, and you have to find ways to balance them to satisfy it. And an easy way to do that is to remember that things aren't their physical representation, especially when we're talking about the moon, especially when we're talking about the moon and Jupiter. It's not the physical representation, it's the feeling behind it with the moon, and it's the meaning behind it with Jupiter. So don't get lost in the representations where you think, oh, it has to look like this, or I want this particular thing. Stay open, and maybe you can stay on that solo mission and still get that dose of that those relationship aspects, but it just takes shape or form in a different way. AKA, maybe you correct your relationship that you have with something else. It doesn't even have to be a person. Maybe your relationship with a place. Maybe your relationship with the type of food, or your relationship with that. And then you see how that trickles over into your actual relationships in life and stuff like that. But to handle the opposition, I would recommend to not get lost in the physical representation of things. Oh, it has to be this person. It has to be. I want this relationship with this person to be that way. That's not what it is. It's you want an ease. You want to gel. You think you're gonna gel with this person, so that's why you want that person. But it's about the gelling aspect. So as long as you focus on the gelling, that person can move away and you'll feel all right because you know that the potential for that is still exists. And then Venus conjunct Mercury in Virgo.
So Mercury was retrograding back from Libra because it started at Virgo, wanted to move us more direct towards our social life after optimizing what we've been working on so far in Leo season. This retrograding back, allowing us to look back those things when it comes to what makes sense, what's practical before we move over to our social life. And this conjunction is just almost like uh, an thought overload about what really matters, since Venus and Virgo so far was making us realize the importance of work and how dry work could be, especially for us because Venus deals with having fun, and then Virgo could be very debilitated, does not know, and especially it was opposing Neptune and Pisces. What possibly could we achieve when it comes to our dreams and illusion? So this Mercury is coming back to give Venus the information that it needs before it moves towards its social life, because Venus rules Libra. It's almost like Mercury giving us that heads up before it moves forward and things of that nature. So it's going to be uh, almost like just an information upgrade. Just yeah, it's almost like your hormones and then oxygen, your respiratory system working together to let your body know about something going on with your digestive system.
Exactly. It's a whole lot more power and balance. You know, if Venus was struggling in Virgo, Mercury being at home is showing Venus, the ropes a little bit, or the aspects that it had missed, the aspects that it may not have had noticed. Just really strengthening, adding more logic to the exchange of emotions that has been going on, making you a real socialite. This may be energy for some real practicality to come out because of how you've been organizing your mind, how you've been organizing your assets and your resources. Maybe you've been saving up, being more conservative because you had a plan or whatever it is. And now, because of how you organized your mind and how you organize the resources, you have this whole opportunity to go and take advantage of things, or you have this, real power to make something practical. So there's heavy practical energy going on with a relatively clear um, mind. If you're relating, and this goes back to what I was saying with the new moon energy in terms of grounding back to that Virgo energy, and that conjunction there will help you do it on that day.
Because like you're gonna realize that I could bring my way of thinking and thoughts and ideas with my love matters. They don't have to be so separated. Even though
Yeah,
Venus is debilitated here, it's working very hard. But Mercury is coming. It's almost like you delivering oxygen, and then Venus representing your hormones is the lubrication that your digestive system need, and then oxygen is helping you break things down and things of that nature.
I,
Even though it's retrograding, so it's like emphasizing the part of about optimization, the practical part before we go towards our social life.
absolutely, absolutely, and that's how Monday is looking. Looking at Tuesday. The 27th, we have the moon in Libra making a square to Pluto in Capricorn. How do you think this is going to hit us on Tuesday?
So as we're emotionally feeling about a relationship and being more connected to it, the squares is creating major learning opportunity with what Libra uh, wants us to learn, which deals with Capricorn, our business, our status. Libra and Capricorn actually shares a lot, but at the same time they don't share a lot because both of them they deal with practicality, what makes sense. But Libra is just speculative. It's air element, and then Capricorn is earth. It's practical. It's what you could physically touch and things of that nature. But they rule by different planets. The Capricorns are ruled by Saturn, so they think about the longevity and the karmic and how they're seen in terms of generational positioning and things of that nature. While Libra are just thinking for the current moment, the satisfaction of a conversation. So that square is learning the right conversations because these conversations are what lead to certain power and control issues that Libra may not know about later on when it comes to relationships. This is why Scorpio is right after it and things of that nature, and then Sagittarius is right there.
For sure. Um, yeah, for sure. The moon being a Libra, especially coming off of the new moon, there's this real feeling for balance. There's this real um, feeling to have more beneficial, energetic exchanges with the people in our lives. But Pluto fucking shit up in Capricorn. The whole structure of how we interact with each other is lopsided. So how are you going to relate with other people on lopsided playing fields? So it's really creating that challenge where you're gonna have to transform how you position yourself in the world and how the responsibilities that you accept and the roles that you play in the world. How are you gonna balance that with your needs for a relationship? You might have to sacrifice some of your needs. You might have to compromise some of those needs. You might have to go about relationships in a different aspect than what would feel more comfortable or what feels more normal because Pluto and Capricorn is like, it's like, no, 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 no. And then Pluto is like the higher octave of the moon, too. So it's just adding more intensity where it's like the higher level of your emotions when your emotions become obsessive, when your emotions become so fixated and not as movable as with the moon. So you may have to fight that desire. You may want more comfortability, things to be looking more nicer, things to be more fair, things to be all of that. But Pluto's like, nah, nah, I'm not gonna give that any to you, and you're gonna have to find a way to adjust that and not have that take a blow, too heavy a blow to your, how you feel. So just be aware of that challenge, that you might not get all that you need to get, but going through that struggle is necessary. Going through that struggle of seeing how what emotions you can satisfy, what emotions can come out. Even if some do get shut down, you may have other ones that can be expressed. So really staying open onto that energy and expecting that square, expecting some frustration to come up when you're trying to balance your relationships on Tuesday.
And it might be a scary square because a new moon in Libra and then it's squaring Pluto. So yeah, watch out for that definitely.
Absolutely. And then the moon in Libra is making it in conjunction to Neptune and Pisces, adding a
So
whole fog to it. Yeah, how do you think this could play out?
so you're not even confident about like what's your subconscious mind is telling you and what's going on with even reality, and you don't even know if you're receiving the right things subconsciously as your emotion trying to initiate these relationship, which they have to be under the concept of Pluto and Capricorn to make that square less harsh and not so much destructive. So it's gonna be a lot of pressure to perform, like because your dreams and illusions are right there, and then Pluto and Capricorn, you're gonna be straight, right, and things of that nature. So yeah.
Exactly, for sure. A lot more vulnerability to or susceptibility to the collective emotion and all the influences that go into to building up our beliefs and our dreams. Our beliefs and dreams are so external, even though they seem internal, but it's probably seems internal or is internal because of how external it is. But once you take away that barrier, same thing with your dreams. You think things are just coming up, but you actually seen that chair that came up in your dream in real life, but you didn't consciously put into it, but it was an external chair, if you get what I mean. And that's that whole stuff, the external world builds up in your subconscious. So there's probably these whole subconscious influences that have built up and anchored into your belief systems and the dreams and your imagination, imagining the future of what you want, that could put your emotions in a new space that is going to challenge how you start to establish relationships, or you might find some frictions and some influences that you may not even be seeing may be dictating your relationship in an aspect. So, and then we're talking about the moon, Pluto, and Neptune. Is it going to be a very subconscious type day, very emotional subconscious type day? So try and be a little bit more sensual. Try and not look at things to be too logical, because they might not come in such a linear form. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but try and look at things more energetically. Try and look at more behind the scenes energy on Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. And that's how Tuesday is looking. Wednesday, on the 28th, we have the moon conjunct the south node in Scorpio. How do you think this is going to play out?
So after we start the new moon in Libra, allow us to feel a new emotional way about connecting with our relationship, creating marriages, relationships, and things of that nature. Now Scorpio is us going behind the scene and seeing the desires that deal with these relationships, because a lot of us will start the communication, but we don't realize why did we do it, the deeper meaning, reasoning behind it, and we might even realize our vulnerabilities that deal with why we wanted to connect with people, which is something Libras realize later on in life, and that's what lead to them learning about knowledge and wisdom and education, because they learn about what they do, which is initiating relationships. So and then the moon's in conjunct the Saturn with Scorpio, so it's debilitated here. This is us going to the bottom of how we feel, not knowing how we feel, because the moon is debilitated. We don't have energy to feel in all this darkness and things of that nature. And then you're having all those squares to Saturn in Aquarius, opposite Uranus in Taurus, and then while in conjuncting Jupiter in Cardian in Aries. First, you were put in a situation to initiate a relationship, but now you don't know how to feel, and then you've been demanding by the entire world to go out there. Saturn Aquarius is opposing, making things difficult. You can't be in your feelings, you can't be vulnerable, and then you have opposition to Uranus and Taurus. You know the entire world needs you to be unique and original to do something in physical reality and things of that nature. But you gotta deal with these emotional things that you started based upon whatever relationship that you started.
For sure, it seems like that where like your personal focus is going to be, yeah, digging deeper into emotions, or where you may even try to start the relationships and extending your hand out to other people will expose certain vulnerabilities that you have, or certain deep-seated emotions that you have carried on from the past that may be aiding you in making these relationships. And it's like, oh, good thing I went through this so I can handle this now. Or it may be holding you back. It's like, no, that's not how I went through it in the past. I want to go back to through it how it was in the past and stuff like that. And your moon's making you really want emotional depth. But Saturn in Aquarius is like, nah, nigga, get on the surface. You have to be logical and shit like that. And Taurus is like, nigga, what do you have? What is being produced right now? So it's like, well, your heart's kind of telling you, not go internal. How do you feel, my nigga? How do you feel? Saturn and your Uranus and the North Node, it's like, nah, stay on the surface. Look at the physical things. Look at what we have. To stay logical. So you may have to find some type of balance of thinking and organizing the logicality and the practicality within your life, and being stable emotionally. And that helps by understanding that they're interchangeable. Like these squares, like they're like energies. they're all fixed signs. They just do it in different ways, but there's a lot similar about them in terms of the fixation. So understanding Scorpio is going to help you understand Aquarius, even though and going through those struggles is what it's going to be. So you have to learn about percentage level, basically. How much can I dive into the depths of my emotions so that I can make the right relationships and still be logical and still have practicality and stability within my actions. So it's really a balance of your deeper internal world and your physical external world.
And that's what creates physical changes because you're using all those physical signs, the fixed signs, which play out as like very
Exactly.
important, which play out as like the most condensed physical organs that you have. Leo, your heart and circulatory system. You know how important that is, and then your
Absolutely.
reproductive system, Scorpio. Then we can reproduce and then create generations, and then Aquarius, a nervous system, and then Taurus, our hormonal system. So like yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, those are the heavyweights in the body, that's for sure. For sure. So that's how Wednesday is looking. Maybe a real stubborn type day where different aspects of your
Yeah,
life are really
friction.
tugging you into different places. Bare
Just
friction on
let,
Wednesday.
yeah,
So
you
really
might feel all
storm
that.
storm the weather, you know?
Like like dive as you diving deep, you're getting hit by all those squares within your life. It's gonna be hard for you to escape because you're trying to stay behind the scene, close your eyes, feel
Try and
your way,
learn
and then
from it.
yeah.
Try and learn from it. Look at it as practice. You can never really lose on these things. There's gonna be different alignments. Things that can never really pass. So don't be in that mindset. Oh, I'm gonna lose or I'm gonna crash into a wall. No, this is a learning experience to help push you forward for you to understand percentage level. You may get it wrong. You may put more energy into being logical, and then you realize certain emotions don't get satisfied. But as long as you have awareness of the percentage levels that you're putting into things, later on you can go and adjust and realize, okay, next time I need to get put more attention into my feelings and emotions to sorting these things out, so all of this stuff didn't happen. And you learn by experience on Wednesday. You're really gonna have to learn by experience, and that's how Wednesday is looking at Thursday on the 29th. We have the moon in Scorpio, on that cusp with Sagittarius, making a trine aspect to Neptune and Pisces. How do you think this is going to play out on Thursday?
So as we're going through this emotional transformation because we're getting demanded out all those fixed signs and this heavy generation of planet to really go out there and then transform ourselves for the sake of their relationships that we start with the new moon in Aries so that we could have some form of knowledge and wisdom and higher understanding in a Sagittarius. So this is what the moon being debilitated is here for. So we could go through this emotional transformation, and then the trine to Neptune um, is us being reminded and then learning how to be more fixated with our dreams and illusions. That's the benefit of adding Scorpio energy into Pisces as opposed to be much more delusional, scattered, feeling there, this and there. Scorpio's like, I know how I feel, I'm gonna hold on to it, and things of that nature. It's like locking in into your dreams and illusions and things of that nature. So, and then, yeah.
And then sometimes Pisces and other water signs are the best ones to help, like Scorpios, like the ice melt a little bit and let go of some of it, because where like the fire signs are adding all of this heat, it's like melt niggas, like damn, this is too
Yeah.
fast. But Pisces,
Aries will irritate Scorpios.
real talk, air won't even get through. Air won't even touch it. Not Scorpio. What is air gonna do to ice? You know what I mean? It traps air and shit like that. What is it gonna do? Um, but another water sign or Earth, um, gives it an environment, and Pisces lets the water melt slowly and then go into everything. Let it go. So a lot of times, like with that Scorpio energy, the other water signs really help unpack the emotions that are really being held on to.
I like to associate Scorpio with like the whole concept about the dark ages and like what's hidden about humanity that humanity do not know about, and then the natural trend with Pisces is almost like how can we develop a higher understanding on what happened in the past and about what these dark, deep things that happen. Like Pisces brings a lot of lightness into Scorpio,
Yeah,
and then Scorpios bring that seriousness that we need into Pisces.
yeah, for sure. And it's funny that you say talk about that hidden aspect because how much people really know about. I guess especially because spirituality became trendy now. People know about Kundalini and stuff like that, but like really know about it and that experience. It feels
Neptune
like
and
it's
Pisces.
something that is hidden. Absolutely, absolutely, that we haven't had access to yet, full access. Because if we really did, we'll be on some next level. I don't know if y'all ever heard of it, but spontaneous human combustion. When that
Mm-hmm.
happens, and that's happened, people just blow up. We don't know why. How the fuck you gonna examine an exploded body, to know what the fuck had happened? But that's Kundalini release. That's you can look envision that as the energy within you going up and through your chakras, but there being a lot of blockages, aka suppressed energy, disease, not clear pathways for energies to be metabolized. You haven't dealt with the authority issues in your life. You haven't dealt with the love issues in your life. You haven't dealt with the power and control issues in your life. And then say something happens where it sparks a Kundalini experience. It's only in dramatic cases like that with real suppressed energy, but that's how powerful it is that it can make a nigga just blow up within himself. So imagine utilize that in a positive, all of that potential energy in a positive aspect. So it could be niggas would be levitating, but that's all that's all. It's all Scorpio. All. That's all under behind closed doors. That's all. We're already doing all of that different type shit, but we ain't aware of it. That's all behind closed doors or Neptune and Pisces type energy. But yeah, so and then Venus in Libra is going to be opposite Jupiter in Aries
Mm-hmm.
um,
So,
while it's in retrograde. So Venus is just getting into Libra now, getting its feet into Libra now. How's it working out in this alignment?
so Venus is back home. It's gonna have we're gonna have full strength into, uh, almost like I realize how much loving and appreciative relationships could be. But that opposite to Jupiter in Aries retrograde is almost like we could go back and whatever we're trying to expand on when it comes to ourselves because our Venus gonna bring all those relationships as our home too, so it's gonna be powerful, and then there's gonna be the fight between all these
Mm-hmm.
relationships coming while you're trying to fight for yourself. Jupiter and Aries, and it's the retrogradation, so you may not be as strong when it comes to expressing yourself since Jupiter moved back to those early degrees, and Venus bringing all those beautiful like things which might make you indulge in them, and that might gonna make you forget what you need to do with Jupiter and things of that nature. So you gotta bring like balance into this using your brain and nervous system and then your kidneys too.
Mm-hmm. And to know that you know you're not just going into social situations and abandoning your individuality by entertaining other people's individuality or mixing your energy with them. This is a prime opportunity for you to learn more about your individuality or even after
Mm-hmm.
to go and reassess of what this head means about you and how that reflects on your personal individuality and your desires. And you're going to have to like especially on days like that with that opposition, you're gonna have to actively make sure that that box is being checked actively because it's gonna be so easy. Venus is at home, just like what you were saying. It's gonna be so easy to just go into that social aspect and make it all lighthearted and stuff, and not ground it back to okay, what does this mean for me? What does this mean about my own personal desires, and what can I learn from this to grow myself as an individual? You just have to be a little bit more conscious of that, adding that energy on Thursday. It's a Jupiter day too, Thor day too. So maybe that'll help you remember.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta swing the hammer for sure. Um, so that's how Thursday's looking. Looking at Friday, how do you think this is gonna play out with the moon in Sagittarius now, opposing Mars in Gemini?
So as we're transforming our fixated, rooted emotions, feelings, desires, and things that makes us vulnerable, because we need to take care of these things dealing with our association, these things dealing with our physical reality, money, position, Taurus, and things of that nature. So the opposition to Mars and Gemini was giving us all this energy to be passionate, even be aggressive, but be communicative, so we could develop information on knowing how to speak about what Mars wanted to be passionate and okay when it was in Aries, and then it went to Taurus, and now it's in Gemini. So Mars gives us this energy to communicate and move what we started. So this is gonna be definitely for you. Learn how to balance your communicative skills with what you're emotionally ascended so far. And when it comes to the moon in Sagittarius, since it's coming from the new moon in Libra, and since you went through the moon in Scorpio, you should understand the darkness that deals with these things. So now Jupiter and the moon in being in Sagittarius is giving you the knowledge and wisdom to direct your words, since Gemini's could say the wrong things. So but it's gonna give you that wisdom and knowledge to direct that scatteredness, which is could be weird.
Hmm.
That's immutable fire and immutable air.
For sure. I feel like the mutable signs and all of the signs that square each other are like a progression to each other. Whereas Gemini starting the conversation, delivering the ideas, and Virgo organizes them, makes them efficient, and then it passes on to Sagittarius to give the meaning. So in Virgo is really organizing it and making it efficient, getting rid of the fluff because Gemini collected a lot of information. It's like a bunch
Wow.
of, but a lot of it was bullshit. So Virgo had to go and cipher through all of that stuff. So Sagittarius doesn't get lost in giving meaning into things.
Well, I like to say like Gemini, Virgo is just like a logical Gemini, a Gemini that makes sense, and then a Gemini is just like a confident Virgo.
Yeah, that dead ass. Yeah, dead ass for sure. They work hand in hand like that for sure. Same thing with
Like Sagittarius and Pisces,
exactly,
which
like
play
they're
which
all
play,
just broad and flunked out like that, where they can really get lost without those balancing qualities. So, like mutable squares, I always look at it as a good thing because it's like a challenge. You know, it's like oh you're trying to be elusive, but you know it's like two elusive energies. So it's like a trickster going against a trickster. That only just makes you a better trickster, you know, if you get what I mean. Like it's like, oh, that's what these other niggas is doing to go and move like that. Oh, it's like alchemy. Oh, that's you blended this and understand that percentage level of this, that, and the third. But yeah, with the moon in
uh,
Sagittarius, yeah,
and not only that, but like mutable signs allow you to understand the mutable nature of your body, since it's not fixed like your heart, your hormone system, and things of that nature. It's dealing with your skin, the mutable nature of your skin. Pisces, and then we got
yeah,
Sagittarius, the muscular system, your ability to
yeah,
contract, and things of that nature. And then Virgo, the weird way your digestive system work depending on what you eat and how you think and things of that nature. And then Gemini, the highly speculative nature of your respiratory system and
your
all the
lungs
situation,
moving and stretching.
and how different situations make you breathe in different ways and different environments and things of that nature. So it really gets to understand like mutability within your body.
Absolutely,
This is why also why mutable signs they deal with the most allergies, because it's the mutable nature that allow them to transit from one season to another season, which play out biologically through your organs, the same organs that
yeah.
allow you to handle allergies and things of that nature.
Absolutely, and that's yeah, exactly. It's that transitory stage, you know, entering different states of beings that creates the mucus buildup and stuff like that. That's for sure. That's
Mm-hmm.
for sure. That's very interesting. So yeah, you may have put your foot in your mouth on Friday with the opposition. Get a little aggressive with your words that may, you know, go out into the dark or go out into a broad area. It's like shooting a whole bunch of arrows that aren't really hitting anything because the area is so vast. You know, in terms of your emotions and your feelings, or it's like how you feel emotionally is kind of like this broad, big picture that Mars and Gemini can't really describe. So maybe there's creating that opposition aspect where those two aspects are going against each other, where you're passionate about speaking about something, or maybe somebody's
Mm-hmm.
passionate about you, but your wants are so broad, or you're looking at the bigger picture that you can't necessarily encapsulate all of it. And that's what I was saying with Virgo is like that cleanup aspect. Because if Gemini is left to it, there's a whole bunch of nonsense that Sagittarius is going to make meaning out of, try and make meaning out of. So there may be some fights or a lot of aggressive energy that you're going to try and figure out, or what does this mean? What is that? What is it? And it doesn't mean anything. So you have to be careful of that. That what you're making, what's opposing you, you really have to ask that somebody's verbally attacking you or some mentality is really coming to you. Really ask yourself, how much meaning and purpose is backed behind this energy? Does this fit within the larger paradigm that I'm trying to live in? And if not, you don't need to go against it or fight against it like that. Try and incorporate more Sagittarius energy where you're more accepting, you're more open to new ideas, more open to new perspectives. So it kind of just bounces off of you, or like your rubber type deal.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's making a trine, the moon in Sagittarius, to Jupiter and Chiron in Aries. How do you think that's gonna play out?
So obviously the knowledge and wisdom that we always develop out of initiating a relationship, then realizing uh, what the dark aspect and the vulnerability that deals with it, that always leads to some form of knowledge, wisdom, and education. This is why Sagittarius deal with spirituality, God, wisdom, and then ascending out of darkness and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So the more we ascend out of darkness, develop more knowledge and wisdom, the more Jupiter could be receive more knowledge and wisdom, since Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter and the Moon represents our emotional experience. So our emotional experience going through those cycles could deliver Jupiter being in Aries ourselves more understanding. How can we bring the broadness back into ourself and things of
Mm.
that nature?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you may on Friday, you may even be peeped to like a starting point of, a certain wisdom that you have built with Jupiter and Aries may help connect you to with that Sagittarius and Aries, the whole starting point where this feeling have really came from that led you to have the journeys and develop the meaning and wisdom for it. So connecting it back to that starting point may give you the reference points of the journey traveled and what had happened and how you could best apply that knowledge. So really look out for that. You really may see your past experiences come to the surface, providing you the knowledge that you need to move forward.
And it's gonna allow you to handle obviously the sun being in Libra, being your opposite, but having the moon going through Sagittarius, giving you all this knowledge, wisdom, those downloads to handle the opposition much more better before the moon starts moving towards the full moon in the Aries and things of that nature. So that transit is
Absolutely.
important to to inspire you, to let you, because Aries could be direct and aggressive, but Sagittarius might put it in that spiritual broad way that Aries might need it, so it can fuck with social life, yo.
Yo,
Like it's
I do that all the time. With you, for example, it's like maybe you'll be a little bit Aries, you'll be like fuck that nigga or something like that. But I mean, as a sad moon, I'll be like, oh, he really loves that nigga, but this nigga's upsetting him at the time. It's just like it's like the Aries would just say the thing, but Sag knows. The meaning behind it's like, oh, it's not necessarily just fuck the nigga. There's more involved in it, so you may get some of that connection.
mm-hmm.
And that's Friday. Looking at Saturday, the 1st of October now, getting into October, Mercury in Virgo in its direct motion now is making a square with the moon in Sagittarius. I think this is playing out. I was kind of talking about like that organizing thing that Virgo does for Sagittarius, but how do you think it plays out?
Yeah, so our mind is ready to go stationary, and direct is gonna help us since everything is fucking retrograde. So at least our mind is gonna be running on track. And then so far, hopefully, we did the right optimization, the right things we need to do with our work, health, service, skills, the right optimization. So now Mercury goes direct, and really we could push for these plans, and we could start freely think about our relationship, since we took care of what our health, our patterns. We could never have a good social life without having a good six solid house, because the seventh house deals with cardinal energy, and cardinal energy initiates a lot of stuff. And Libra, Aries, Cancer, and Capricorn, they all deal with areas of life that demand so much energy out of you. You won't believe it. This is why work, it gets a lot of people injured. A lot of health issues gets developed. Home, a lot of problems. You could tell me about it. Aries, personal issues. Everybody.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Capricorn, your status, position, your reputation is so fragile. Absolutely,
Your relationships. You've been thinking about that your entire life. Who to connect to, yourself. Like, it's quite difficult. So it makes sense
absolutely,
why it would be so hard for these areas to be brought together.
absolutely. Sure, definitely see that. Um, and I feel like Sagittarius is like, be like with Virgo. Virgo's here, working, organizing shit, and the Sag is gonna be like, "What does this mean?" And Virgo's like, "That doesn't matter." It's like, "Oh, well, fine. What does this mean?" It's like that's whatever used for whatever. Oh, what does this mean? And so Virgo's like, "Sag, could you shut the fuck up while I'm trying to? You're supposed to do this after, but you're trying to attach a whole bunch of meanings and reasoning to things that I haven't even mentally started to unpack." So you may find yourself into that, or be frustrated with those energies where you're trying to mentally
Mm,
unpack things. Try not to add too much meaning and wisdom to things. Rely on your past experiences and how you used to feel and stuff like that before you mentally unpack something. Allow yourself to mentally unpack something, and then um, apply your experience to it, because then there'll be less discrepancies, and you'll allow, because Virgo needs to break things down and make it practical. Otherwise, you'll just be making a whole bunch of connections that really aren't grounded, or pulling all of the experiences that may be bullshit, maybe experiences that you shouldn't have to go back to, and
mm-hmm.
aspects like that.
So, like, this square is gonna teach you how to make proper correspondence with what's going on with your emotion and what you learned so far, and the knowledge and wisdom that you develop while learning how to make sense and practicalize things. So you're emotionally feeling expansive with your sense of meaning and reasoning, while Virgo is looking at the details, the thoughts and ideas. But you're gonna have to put them together, and that's quite difficult. This is what creates a new form of education. Virgo energy with Sagittarius.
For sure, absolutely. That's like heavy learning energy too. That's like the school scholar, you know what I mean, or the guy who has the technical knowledge and the big picture to make it possible. So dealing with that square is a perfect learning lesson for you to actually have applicable wisdom and knowledge. And then Neptune and Pisces is opposing Mercury and Virgo too. So we're having like a little T square going on with Neptune. How do you think Neptune is adding to this energy?
Man, so Neptune is also retrograde, and Neptune is uh, allowing you to dive deeper and deeper to your subconscious mind. But since it's retrograding, it's making you look over certain dreams and illusions and feelings and the emotions that you give meaning and reasoning to. Like Neptune and Pisces, it deals with like you being a detective and you being intuitive enough to figure out where certain dreams and illusions come from. So they're going to drift you away, especially with the retrograde, and then the opposition to Mercury and Virgo, forcing you to think about the details and what makes sense. Your mind is focused on what makes sense. Your emotions are focused on just going through that expansion experience that I went through the new moon in Libra. So you're gonna have to learn how to handle all those mutable aspects that's going on with your mind, your way of thinking, and then your dreams and illusion, but also your emotional experiences.
For sure. I feel like this could really, maybe bring up some limited belief systems that you have, and expose them, because Mercury and Virgo's trying to make sense out of things. With these two out of balance, you may have limiting belief systems based off of influences that are coming, that have built up subconsciously, And while Mercury is here, it's ready to unpack this thing. You have a belief system. It's like, oh, that's not real, or that won't work, or it has to look like this, or everybody's saying it has to look like this, or I feel like it's looking like that. And all of these belief systems of what you think things are supposed to be may prevent you from utilizing that Mars and Virgo. You're getting lost in the fog and not go reaching out to touch it to see if it's real. But if you reached out to touch it and see if it was real and it dissipated, you will have, you'll know, okay, okay, I shouldn't mentally unpack that, or that's not a reality, allowing Mercury and Virgo to do what it needs to do, and in terms of unpacking all of these, the practicality, your limited
Mm-hmm.
dreams, or you being in La La Land may make you think certain things are real that aren't. So you really have to be aware of that confirmation process when it comes to your dreams and illusions. Like, is this a real feeling, or is this something that's built up subconsciously from some other type of thing? Or is this preventing me from making sense out of what is presenting itself for me from right now? So if you see something that may not make sense or that's confusing you, ask yourself: is it a belief system that I have? Is it a influence that's in my life that's confusing me about this, or that's preventing me from understanding it? Really ask yourself that on Saturday. And that's Saturday. Looking at Sunday, we have the Sun in Libra squaring the Moon in Capricorn now. How do you think this is gonna play out on Sunday?
So, since the sun right now is in Libra, also we're gonna be focusing on obviously relationships. That's the big theme, creating harmony and things of that nature. We're gonna have the square to Moon in Capricorn. Right now, we're gonna put our emotion aside since the Moon is gonna be debilitated here, especially after the Moon is Sagittarius, ascending to certain knowledge and wisdom based upon the vulnerabilities that we learn for the sake of connecting with the people when it comes to our relationship. So the moon in Capricorn, this is time for us to initiate a business, really be emotionally aggressive about our status, what makes sense, and put our emotion aside and be emotionally sensitive for the sake of uh, the generation and business. This is why when people go to work, one of the main things you notice work forces you to be very conscious about the way you express your emotion. Like people say, like Capricorns are emotionless, but it's maybe the other way around. They feel like they're so constricted by the earth element. They have to uphold a certain responsibility when it comes to the way they speak. And this is why it plays out all the way to the point they experience osteoporosis, bone problems because of the hardness they have to uphold within their body, coming from a mental perspective first. So the Sun in Libra, obviously, you have to emphasize the balance between relationships, but also know the importance of the business and status that you need. So you gotta make sure that the relationships are associated with business.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Where emotionally you're kind of looking for more, just like what you're saying, after coming out of the meaning and wisdom and knowledge of the Moon and Sagittarius, what it's giving you in terms of wisdom and connecting your past experiences with your relationships to help you make healthy relationships. Capricorns now, like that final cleanup, like I was saying, Virgo kind of organizes things for Sag to make sense out of. Capricorn is like the final verification process where it's like doing the fine tuning. So it's like, nah, we can't bring this to the public. Nah, we can't bring this to the public. Nah, this is not going to be what our name is on. Nah, you can believe this. You can have went through that experience. You can hold on to this wisdom and knowledge. But this is not how we're presenting ourselves. This is not how we're presenting ourselves. So it's kind of moving into that. You wanting to be treated in a certain way. You wanting to have control over certain aspects of your life. But while certain emotions, this is like emotional control. And this is what leads to a lot of the sensitivity when Moon and Capricorns. A lot of the time, just like what you were saying, because of that hardness. So when you add some emotion, it's like, yeah, you're right. It's not like they're not emotional. I feel like they're even more emotional because when they're thrown into emotional situations, it's like that necessity to dry it up, because if they were to let it be wet, um, it would fuck up everything. They
Mm-hmm.
would be so sensitive. They'll be to they'll feel the emotion a lot more than everybody else. So that's why they have to stay dry. And our real goal is to have control over our emotions, and if we're just letting our emotions putting with the Moon in Capricorn. So if we're just letting our emotions kind of pull us into things, there's not that control. There's not that conservative. It's not stable or structured. Your emotions are all over the place, and it doesn't have any um, you know structure to it. But when you're organizing or starting new relationships, Sun and Libra, and you're focusing on balancing your energy, you're opening up all the possibilities for emotional exchanges, for you to have to battle with certain things. Now you're adding all these variables of people coming in, loosening the possibility of you having control. So you're gonna have to learn how to balance that. You always have emotional control. You always have emotional control. Always, even the times when you feel like you have to cry, sometimes maybe you need to cry. You have to look at it from the perspective of you're the dictator of all of these things. You're not victimized by your emotions. They're all internal expressions of you. So it's kind of like how what I talk about with the moon being your esoteric GPS, letting you know where you are esoterically. But the sun in Libra, you are exchanging all of this energy, is really going to challenge you in how you control your emotions and how you're able to establish practicality in a situation where you may be a little bit more emotionally volatile, where you have to dry yourself up a little bit. And especially with Libra, Sun and Libra is always about compromising. You may feel more compromised. You may feel more friendly. You want to be more fair. Moon in Capricorn is probably telling us like, yeah, maybe partnership, but that's an imbalanced deal. Like, no, that doesn't make sense. No, you're getting the short end of that stick. Bring your hat back out here. Don't go and make that deal. Don't go and make that partnership. And you're gonna need it to say it, because Sun and Libra would have your ass saying yes, okay, fine, even though internally, that's not what you want to do. So Moon and Capricorn is adding that dryness to you. Be like, no, nigga, I don't want to do that shit. Get the fuck out of my face. In the
Exactly.
situations that I need it. And then the
But
moon
like,
in Capricorn is trining. Oh, yep, yep.
yeah, but like the sun and Libra squaring the moon in Capricorn is gonna accelerate the process of like business and communication for you. As you're gonna go through all those learning opportunities specifically,
Absolutely.
and then you're having the moon in Capricorn. The moon in Capricorn is gonna try the north and node. So understanding that square these relationships and what they could possibly lead into. This is why Saturn is exalted at 22 degree Libra, which is what they later learn on and things of that nature, and that's gonna create opportunity for you to go towards your spiritual path, since the moon made you take emotional responsibility about your status, stand up on your own bones, so you're gonna achieve one of the
Mm-hmm.
most important things, controlling your own time. And through controlling your own time with Capricorn, you're gonna learn, you could spend more time with your spiritual path, the North Node and Taurus.
Exactly. Which you may not notice because the North Node would be in a more, maybe not exactly, but a more of an in conjunction type relationship with the Sun being in Libra. So it may be something that's a little bit awkward, not as easy to see, outside of its natural type tendency. So being forced into that challenge is like making it aware, oh, there's that potential for more stability with this Taurus energy. Capricorn's kind of like, oh, if I were to be a little bit more dry, yeah, my spiritual path on really being knowing my own self-worth, knowing my own talents, feeling secure within myself. Capricorn's letting you, reminding the Sun and Libra that this is a possibility, to not neglect those things.
Exactly.
Hmm. For sure. And that's how the week is looking, guys. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you fuck with the video. Follow us on Instagram, TrueSpace underscore. Check out our website, TrueSpace.biz, and we'll catch you guys.
Take care.
Peace out.